Hello, this is Master Hughes, and this response is to Kevin. And Kevin left a communication on one of my videos I put up on YouTube. And I want to say thanks, Kevin. I got it. I'm trying to respond. I was a little slow responding because we've been shooting a scene for a movie. And it's hot as hell in Texas right now. But we had to do one particular scene here, and so I was tied up, and I just now got a chance to review your letter. And your letter actually is pretty interesting. I have it here. I can't answer everybody's letter. Sometimes I get a lot of communications. But you actually had some interesting stuff in here. I believe what you tell me or what you wrote, I believe you experienced it, or I believe you experienced it, and you asked me about what was going on. And I do have some answers for you. One, I want to state that, first I want to state and everything, I believe you mentioned that your father served our country. Bless him. And so, your father's not here, so thank you for your father's service. And then secondly, you talked about hearing a whistle at one of your outings. And to be honest with you, I have only heard the whistle, I think, once, maybe twice out of 10 years of being out there. But I too have heard a whistle. And, if I hear it, it's pretty loud because I've got a hearing problem that comes and goes. It's messed up. But I have heard the whistle myself. So without going on to what is causing the whistle, it does occur. People do hear it. And I know in my circumstance, nobody knew where I was, and so it couldn't have been fabricated. So I do believe some of the things you're saying here. We talk about, and I've had some of this paranormal phenomena happen to me. I had a lot when we shot, I believe it was the Kimmeecher Beast expedition, and then Trail to Kimmeecher Beast. They're both on YouTube. I hope you watched them. We had on the last event a lot of paranormal phenomena. And I know that's an ambiguous term. It really is an ambiguous term. But we have some strange things going on. And so your letter caught my eye and everything, especially Oklahoma, because we've been in Oklahoma, we've been in Arkansas. And I myself have seen some strange stuff up there. Now, when I say strange, I don't try to identify it. You have to understand, I was a trained investigator. And so I recognize that things happen. I don't always try to attach an identity to it or say it was this or say it was that. I just recognize the phenomena has occurred. And when you were talking about using your camera and getting some strange results, or your cell phone getting some strange results, I have had that happen too. And so I have also had it happen with the expensive cameras. And so the event does occur. And so the question is, what is causing what you're seeing? And the fact that you bring up that you enlarged some of the photos and saw it absolutely makes sense. Because I have been up there and maybe, 100,000 photos, I've had something like that occur. And so the question is, what is it? It can actually, in fact, be several things causing the phenomena. And so I have no doubt you have viewed this phenomena. But there are several logical explanations for it. One is in a, okay. Uh, there's something called pareidolia. Pareidolia, the brain is trained to continually decipher events, what it hears, what it smells, what it sees. And the brain was designed that way to help protect us. It goes way back to when we were hunter and gatherers. And so sometimes things that appear to be something, and actually, what you're saying there is there, but it's not what you think it is sometimes because of pareidolia. Now, pareidolia cannot explain everything. There are things that show up on film, and pareidolia does not explain it. But I have seen the events that you were talking about on my own cell phone, on my telescope, on my camera. Not all of it can be explained by pareidolia or the mind tricking itself into looking for possible threats. A lot, that's what pareidolia really is. It's about our primitive mind looking for possible threats to protect us. Pareidolia does occur. But as I myself, I think in Kimmy Should Be Expedition 2, I put up some photos of a dark spot that were taken by cell phone through a lens, a telescopic lens. So many words, I had it to attach to a big viewer. And I myself, when I saw a big dark shape appear, I thought, because it was on one side, that my camera lens, my cell phone lens we were using at that time, high quality cell phone lens, to take the photo, I thought it had become misaligned. All right? And so when you first look at it, again, pareidolia, you could think that pareidolia is fooling you into believing something's there. Now, I actually, when I got home, put them up on my big viewer and determined that it was not pareidolia, because pareidolia has to have certain things to trick the brain into believing it sees something that is not there. So it's very possible some of you things you saw may have been related to pareidolia. Some of the things you saw may have actually been real. And I have experienced that myself. In the shots that we used, I quickly determined it was not pareidolia because it didn't have the elements of pareidolia. And in the shots, the black target, let's say what we were viewing, had actually moved. All right? Pareidolia is there and it doesn't move. So what was it? What was I actually getting a photo of? And that's always the question. So we know that the mind can fool itself. It's designed to protect you when you see certain things, and that can even be on a camera. But sometimes, or cell phone, and sometimes when you magnify it, all of a sudden it either becomes obviously pareidolia or there's something there. So what I'm saying is that some instances may be pareidolia, where it's tricking the mind. Some instances, maybe 1 out of 1,000, may be real. There's something there. And I've had it happen with my camera. I've had it happen with the cell phone. It usually does with the cell phone. It could be the optics and everything. There's also possibility that the mind is a strange thing. I have some expertise in the mind. And sometimes if a person has something on the brain, something they've been thinking about, it may not even be now, it may have been 6 months ago, it may be 1 year ago, and you see a picture, it can sometimes trigger that and make you believe that it is there. All right? Again, it doesn't explain every single photo that something appears in, but it can happen. The brain's an astounding thing. And so the question also went to, could we be seeing something from another dimension? All right. You're not the only one that believes they may saw something from the past when they took a photo. And again, that can relate to how the mind works. Also, you know, all the past information is encoded and still exists in consciousness. Now, consciousness, a lot of people think consciousness is the brain, but consciousness, the brain is just a seat for consciousness. Consciousness is in the universe, and everything that ever happens is encoded there. And so, is there something that could have something from the past actually appear? We are not advanced enough to know that at this point. We do know that some individuals have been able to see things like that because of their own brain, the way the brain works and the status that the brain is in at the time. So again, it's very complicated. You could be seeing something that's not there. You could be seeing a phenomena. You could be having a psychosis, or you could have actually, possibly, theoretically, seen something from the past that something triggered in your receiver. Your brain's a receiver for consciousness. And I hope I'm not going too deep, because to answer you and be honest, I have to say, well, these things happen, they're illusions, these things happen in tricks of the mind, and these things happen and we cannot explain them. Such as the photo I took of something that should not have been there, that appeared to be just a dark spot, but the dark spot moved. So I hope I'm helping you a little bit. The trick is, don't assume anything. It may be there. You might be able to, usually to verify something, it takes several different types of methodology to test it to see if it's actually there, or if it's a trick of the mind, or some other illusion, or maybe even energy from another dimension. It's not simple like a lot of people think. And I do believe a lot of what you're saying, absolutely. And it is phenomena. You are correct. It's phenomena. That's the correct term. Now, could some of your phenomena have been created by the older phone? That might be a possibility, but not necessarily so. I've had that phenomena on my newer phone. And you say, is it what's beyond our norm, like another dimension or past? That could absolutely be possible. That's what I was just saying about consciousness. We still barely understand consciousness, but that absolutely could be true. The thing we have to be careful of is not to assume, we just observe, and then it has to be tested several different ways to maybe find out where it's a trick of the brain, or where it's a light reflection, or where it's pareidolia. There's several things that can actually occur, but this stuff does occur. In fact, I right now, hold on here. It's strange that you write, because I right now am working on something that has a little relation to this. These are government documents. Of course, they're all legally released. I'm working on something right now in regard to what you're saying. So, I have dedicated data that indicates that some of the things you're saying could actually have occurred, and some of the things you're saying could be a trick of the mind, have to be honest, and but I'm not eliminating anything. And that could explain the people in the tire from different time that you believe you've seen images of. It actually could explain it. I have to be careful because I have some people that really get lost in this stuff. But there is some truth to some of it. And there can be strange things, quirks with cameras that cause it. And it's not easy. Actually have some software where I can look at some film and clips and everything to help give me a better idea of what's going on. But it's rare to catch it. It's not that it doesn't happen, it's rare to catch it. But I absolutely believe it because you seem to be pretty informed about it, and I think you're pretty clear about what you're saying. So anyway, I want to thank you for contacting me and giving me so much details. I do believe what you're saying. I believe it's what you perceive. And I'm telling you that some of the stuff you perceive is probably wrong. Some of the stuff you perceive might be correct. And I'm careful with that. The video I put up about ghosts in my truck, I want to explain that. When I use the term ghost, and I should have been more properly correct, I am usually referring to unknown phenomena. Ghosts are unknown phenomena. So sometimes I throw out the word ghost because it means I don't understand what caused the phenomena. And so that might confuse people, and that's my fault. What happened with my truck did actually happen. That was real. But I can't explain it. So I threw out ghosts for phenomena because we've got to have a laugh in life sometimes. You got to have a little fun. But it did actually occur. So some of the things you're telling me, I believe, probably did occur. It's a question of what was the cause, and it could be several things, and without some in-depth evidence, we may never know about these events. So anyway, I believe you. I believe what you've seen could be a mixture of mind and reality, and maybe even dimension. And the reason I say that is because there are people we know who have the ability to be very, very sensitive to certain things, and you may observe something that other people would not ever observe. Or, like I said, it could be pareidolia and it has tricked your mind. Either way, I believe you. And so I found this very, very interesting. But yes, there are several causes for it. It takes in-depth research to try to figure it out. Quite often, we will never know the truth. You have to understand our government has been involved in researching some of this stuff, and they even use quantum physics to help determine what's going on. So we actually know some things can actually occur, and a lot of people are deceived about it. And they've used quantum physics to prove some of the things have occurred, such as Buddhist masters having great, great skill about awareness of things and stuff. But anyway, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate the letter. I did read it. I hope I haven't confused you. I must take the position of somebody who's trained in investigation, that the events were there. There's evidence of the events. Properly determining what caused the events is the problem, because it could actually be several things from pareidolia, tricks of light, to actually having occurred. All right. I hope I don't leave you holding there. But anyway, thank you for contacting me, Kevin. And I hope that helps, but there can be some legitimacy to it. It's a question of defining and comprehending what the true event is that is going on. And what we perceive is not always the true event, but sometimes what we perceive can help us explain the true event. This is Master Hughes. Bye-bye.